Welcome back to the channel, everyone. My name is Blue the Jaegers, and today I was just reminded just how good Attack on Titan is and how much I appreciate Isayama. One of the biggest things about Isayama is his bravery, you could say. We first saw this when he revealed Reiner and Bertholdt in the most anticlimactic way possible. That took guts. Then we saw how he shifted the perspective from the main cast of people we had no idea, we didn't care about. The Marley perspective shift. That took guts. And then we saw how he turned the main protagonist, the person we're cheering for in the show, and made him break a few cardinal rules. One, he killed innocent people without remorse, and he also punched a Warhammer while she was transforming. The second one was me joking, but seriously, if you watch, again, I brought up Spider-Man last time I talked about this, but in Spider-Man, right, Peter Parker he's a hero, he's a good guy, so of course, when the Vulture's being killed, or in trouble, he goes out of his way to save him because Spider-Man can't kill anybody, right? The good characters, the good guys, really can't go out of the way to kill people. And yes, it's been done before. I'm not saying it's specific to Isayama, but Isayama does it the most. And I was just reminded how I took that for granted today. Because today, I just finished Moon Knight. Moon Knight, and, you know, I'm not going to say Moon Knight's a bad show. That's ridiculous. Moon Knight's pretty good. But as I've said, Moon Knight, it will come and go, right? It's here, you know, it's great. It's awesome for this year. 2 years from now, who really cares? Attack on Titan is a generational masterpiece, and it will endure. Hopefully, it deserves to endure, but hopefully will endure for hundreds of years, right? So, two completely different stories. And one of the reasons why Attack on Titan will hopefully and deserves to endure for hundreds of years is because it's because of its bravery. And I'm talking about the ending of Attack on Titan and the ending of Moon Knight. So, at the last 2 episodes of Moon Knight were really where I took issue. Well, I took issue with, the show is just not, the show is overall just not as good as Attack on Titan. And again, yes, I'm not knocking Moon Knight. It's a great show. I applaud the people who made it. Very well done. They deserve all the money and fame it's gotten. I'm very happy for them. But it's just overall not as good as Attack on Titan. But I'm not going to talk about that. What I'm talking about is the ending specifically and these pit holes the authors stumble into. So we have Mark, who I'll refer to as the American, right? And then we have I keep reading his name, that's why I refer to him as better nationalities. Steven, who's the Brit. So we have the American, we have the Brit. Okay, so the Brit is the, he's, I don't know why you're watching this if you haven't been caught with Moon Knight, but this will be spoilers because I'm talking about the ending of Moon Knight, obviously. But Moon Knight, the Brit is this like weak-willed guy, not that strong, but he knows a lot about Egyptian history. Mark is a mercenary. He's tough and, doesn't kill people whatever. But the thing is that Mark, the American, killed his brother in the cave on accident. They went to a cave and it was like flooding and his brother drowned. And then his mom, took issue with that. The relationship became toxic. He created, out of his own mind as a child, as a coping mechanism, a separate personality to hide from his trauma. Now, any psychologist will tell you that is bad and unhealthy. Is it understandable? Of course it is. If you saw what I'm talking about, and I hope you do, because you shouldn't spoil yourself. It's a great show. But if you saw what I'm talking about, you would know he was under immense trauma. So of course it would be reasonable for him to take such action. No one blames him for that action. But the relationship was toxic, and as the Brit says, he shouldn't have created a false reality. He's like, it's not the truth, and he's like, what does it matter? And of course, we know truth is better than lies all the time, 100% of the time. At least mentally stable people know that. And what happens? again, long story short, I'm not going to delve too much into the lore. Long story short, the Brit ends up the person that Mark created in his childhood to deal with his trauma, to create a life for himself, and which, as it should, exploded, overfilled after his mom's death, that started intertwining, among other reasons, but partly it overflowed and his mom died. He couldn't contain it because no one can do that. It was always backfire on you. It's like what Jordan Peterson says: when you do something wrong, you twist. He says you twist the fabric of reality, and it snaps back at you, right? So if you trace something bad that happened, or something, or you do something bad at somebody else, and you go back, it looks random at first, but then you go back, you see, oh, you did this thing, and then the fabric of reality snapped back at you. So this, of course, snapped back at him when his mom died, because of course it would. But this fake person, the Brit, Steven, ends up dying in the afterlife. Again, it's hard to explain, but he ends up like disappearing forever. And what happens to the American? He goes to the Egyptian version of heaven, of paradise, which is strangely relevant. Maybe I'm looking into things too much, but strangely reminiscent of Attack on Titan. You have the mountains surrounding everything. It's the same lighting, but I'm probably just looking way too much into that. But he's in paradise, and he's at peace, which is funny because he's at peace, but he's also not at peace because he's not fine with his buddy being in the sand, which is weird because even if his peace was an illusion in paradise, it'd still be the same logic he's using to have Steven around in the first place. So why he chose to have mental illness over peace in paradise is beyond me. But that was the first thing that I took issue with. Like, well, he should be dead. This is great. This show's following this along pretty perfectly. Okay, you got your mental illness. You dealt with your trauma because they went through like the memories, and he dealt with his trauma. He recognized it. Okay, great. And then he's got rid of his personality. Okay, great. And then he went to heaven where he said he would be at peace. All peace he sought for would be in paradise in that field. And then he went back to get his mentally ill fabrication. Interesting. But then, as if that wasn't a horrible message by itself, he goes back and basically, again, I gotta really summarize this quickly. Don't blast me in the comments for missing details. I'm trying to make this quick. And again, you guys should have already watched this because I'm talking about the ending. This is major spoilers alert. Basically, I think her name's Ahmed, right? Ahmed, this guy who has a very interesting idea, which is never delved too much into, which is one of the main issues I have with the series as a whole. But basically, she knows what sins you're going to commit in the future. Again, really cool concept there. And so she punishes you for those beforehand, so that evil doesn't take root. And basically, what the villain says, would you like weed the garden after the rose is already dead? Again, very good analogy. His ideology is never really refuted that much. Again, but I'm not really getting to that. But there's another god who starts with a C. I forgot the name of the god, but the god punishes just ultra wicked. Again, we get a lot of cool psychology going here that was never delved into, but he punishes only the wicked after they committed their sins, right? And so they're fighting. We're supposed to be on the side of the sea god. Again, I forgot his name, I'm so sorry, but the sea god, and then Ahmed is the bad guy. So basically what happens is Ahmed was imprisoned so that she wouldn't do her plan, but then she gets released by the villain, and then Ahmed starts to enact her plan. But then they realize, wait, if we can trap her in a mortal being and then kill her, she'll be gone forever. We won't have to do this ever again. Sort of like in, well, actually, no. I was going to say sort of like in Once, where they have like the Dark One dagger and you can contain all the evil, but you couldn't really kill the Dark One. But you know what I mean. Basically, they'd be able to get rid of all the evil in the world if they did this. Or no, not that was in Once. They would be able to get rid of Ahmed and her evil plan forever if they were to trap a person in the mortal body and then kill him. And then kill a person. So then Mark, the American, comes up and he is about to kill the villain. I forgot the guy's name. So sorry, but but they kill the villain of the story, the guy with the long hair, that guy. And after he already infused Ahmed into him, and then Mark decides, let's not do that. And then the guy rightfully points out, and when the audience is thinking, he says, wouldn't this thing happen again? Wouldn't this entire story happen all over again if you let this person go? And then he's like, you're using the same logic as her! Actually, I don't have to talk about this, but probably means that you're wrong. Maybe you're wrong. Maybe her logic is right. And secondly, no, it's not her logic, because both those people have already committed bunches of sins. So, and they are the cream of the crop of evil. They've already killed a bunch. They killed like everyone in Cairo. We saw that they killed a whole bunch of people in Cairo. So they're already mass murderers, both of them. So no, you're not punishing them before their sins are committed. No. And secondly, they sort of are using the sort of basic principles of the thing, not entirely. So maybe you're all wrong. Maybe you should reconsider your morals. And this is exactly why I wanted Ahmed's philosophy to be debunked thoroughly with exposition and allegory beforehand, because the audience is just dragged along for this ride. And when the end comes, and again, I'm not talking about the ending, when the end comes and they say you're using the same logic as her, now the audience is like, okay, well, what's wrong with her logic then? Because this makes perfect sense. She's gonna come back, terrorize the world again, kill a bunch of people again. Maybe we won't stop her. I don't understand. And so Mark does the good old hero thing, keeps his hands all clean, which is funny because again, he's a mercenary and he killed his own brother. So I don't know why they felt like he did this. He keeps his hands clean, goody two shoes hero, yay, great character development. And then he says, "Oh, if you want to kill him, do it yourself." And he tosses him the I don't know what it is. It's like a moon-shaped thing. And I was just reminded, man, I really take Attack on Titan for granted. Because we, all, especially us Jaegerists, we know that crap would never happen in Attack on Titan. You better believe Flock, Eren, or Erwin is killing that nigga right on the spot. You're like, oh yeah, you're getting killed, bro. And you know, I mean, guys, I actually just watched recently. I did not know Connie got his hands so disgusting. Again, so filthy. I am really a manga reader. I haven't read volume 32 in a while. And I just recently saw what the hell Connie did in 132 or something like that, around that time. They fight at the port. I just saw it. That was ridiculous how much blood that boy is getting in his hands. Lots of it. Gallons of it. We have our female protagonist, Mikasa, showering the blood of her enemies, right? Conflicted all the way. Connie, same thing as I just mentioned, gets his hands incredibly dirty, says he's irredeemable. I mean, do we need to really mention Eren? I just watched another video essay today about how no one has the guts to do the rumbling. The rumbling is not done in any other work of fiction. Period, especially anime, because, especially mainstream media, because it's just horrifying for an author to do. Who would do that? Isayama would do that. Hell yeah, we're having the rumbling, and you know what? Isayama's greatest strength is that he understands human nature to a T. So he has the Jaegerists that are supporting the rumbling, and then we have the Alliance that aren't supporting the rumbling, and then we have the fandom in real life, because again, Isayama knows human nature to a T, and he knows this, and so what do we have in real life? We have the Jaegerists on one side, me and my other team who love the rumbling, support the rumbling in full way, and we have other people say genocide is bad, genocide is wrong, we should protect our homeland at the cost of humanity, and it's perfect, but Eren does it, and his logic is tight, and I love the scene where he brings them up. He brings them up to the pass, and he says, listen, and it's such a great line, this is why I say, it's so beautiful that Eren wasn't lying the entire time like Lelouch was. He was giving truth through most of the fourth season, mixed in with some lies, but he says, listen, well, the world has to take my freedom away, meaning that since the world wasn't his ideal world, which would be no Titans, or actually I would say no animals, which would be people he doesn't like, so the humans are now animals, the Marleyans are animals, Titans are animals, so no animals in the world, right? just nature, that's freedom for him. That's why he says freedom. He's trampling those people. So he says, whoever wants to take away my freedom, I'll take away their freedom. But you, I want to take away your freedom. Right? You, if you want to sacrifice our freedom and your freedom for the sake of the world's freedom, you are free to try. And it says this beautiful line. As long as we hold our unshakable convictions, we will collide. It's perfect. Because that's exactly what everybody is too scared to say. Eren is completely right. The Alliance is completely right. You cannot argue with them. They have two different priorities. Again, like Jordan Peterson said, you have to have a hierarchy of values, or else you'll be confused and immobilized. So what's Eren's top priority? Well, Mikasa, himself, parody, blah, blah, blah. What's their highest priority? The world. So there's no arguing because they have a different hierarchy of values. Their hierarchy is different, so they cannot be reconciled. So they must collide, and violence and bloodshed must ensue. But most mainstream media is too cowardly. They didn't have the spine to do it. And then we have some stupidness like, you're just as bad as her. Okay, and? What do you mean just as bad as her? Okay, what's really so bad about her then? Because you're starting to make absolutely no sense, brother. What do you mean? Okay, let's take a chill pill. You know what? I'll take a chill pill. I'm the one wilding out. You're not wilding out. You're probably confused. This is why I'm so angry. But yeah. And again, but at the same time, he doesn't even glorify the violence. The violence is looked upon as sad, as tragic, as it should be avoided. Even if it's impossible to avoid violence, we still should avoid it. That's how anti-war and anti-violence this show is. And it's that beautiful nuance. The understanding acknowledgement. Violence it will ensue. Blood must be shed for goals to be accomplished. But we should still stop violence and try to avoid it. And we're all still evil people, whether we're doing a good thing or not. Eren knows he's evil. The Alliance knows they're evil. Fight me. I don't care if Eren I don't care if Eren didn't do anything wrong. He sees himself as evil. We know this in 139. We know what he's saying. I'm sorry to Ramsay. We know what we know that Eren is not. It's all sunset and rainbow for him. He knows what he's doing is wrong, or he feels what he's doing is wrong. We know the Alliance. He says Connie. Connie says we're irredeemable people. Reiner says it too. So does Annie. They all think, even in season 1, she said that she was worthless and evil. They all have this beautiful understanding. It's so nuanced and perfect. And Instinct does not dance around any of it. He goes straight into the mud. He goes straight into the dirt. He goes straight into the realism of the world. And then he says, but wait a second. While this is all true, it is still beautiful, and we should still try to avoid war at all costs. And that's the beauty of Attack on Titan. And that's why Moon Knight sucks absolute wieners compared to Attack on Titan. It's a great show. I would recommend it to all my friends. It's an amazing show. You watch it. It's great. And that's why I said, don't want you to be spoiled. If you're not caught up with Moon Knight, don't watch this video, because I don't need to ruin the experience of watching it. It was great. I was surprised I was very engaged in this show. But Attack on Titan is completely on a different level. I'm not saying that Moon Knight sucks wieners compared to Attack on Titan to insult Moon Knight. I'm saying Attack on Titan is so good that it makes shows like Moon Knight suck wieners compared to it. Attack on Titan is so much better than every other piece of fiction in this generation, especially mainstream media. And on that note, Isayama, as I said, very, very good with human nature and interpersonal relationships. And so, instead of doing what everyone wanted to do, and have Mikasa stomp her scarf into the ground, set it on fire, and spit in Eren's grave, she instead still holds Eren in her heart, and yet completely devotes herself to her husband and children. A realistic path to healing, and it's realistic for human beings as a general principle, not to forget someone who's been in their life for that long. But what does Moon Knight do? Moon Knight does what the audience wants. Hey, we like Steven. We've been with the Brit since the beginning. Let's have him in the show. You can't abandon him. I'm sure a bunch of people, especially the women, were moved to tears. Like, oh, he's leaving paradise and literal eternal peace to go get his mentally ill contraption. It's so sweet. No, it's disgusting and it's wrong. It's wrong. He should be destroying his fake persona. And again, what happens to Attack on Titan? What happens to Krista? Krista gets stomped into the floor and set on fire because she's fake. She's not real. She was created to cope with trauma. Steven was created to cope with trauma. He's fake. He's not real. He's not conducive to human flourishing. Which is why Historia destroys Krista, and why she's better off for it. But instead, the Limey gets to stay around because I don't know why. Because the audience wants him to stay around, and Nishiyama would never do something like that, and that's why I was just reminded of how much I take for granted consistent characters and plots, and an understanding of human nature, human psychology. Ridiculous. Any psychologist, any person with sense was cringing when that scene was happening, because it made sense. He was at heaven, he was in peace because he dealt with his trauma, he acknowledged it, he didn't hide from it anymore, and then Steven should have been gone, but instead, he sticks around for some reason. And again, Isayama did this perfectly. He did it with Krista, and he did the same thing with Mikasa. Right, he understood human psychology, understood human nature, and sure, most of my fans didn't like it because most of the fans are full of stupid people. But he did it anyway because he knew that that's what needed to happen, and he knew that dynamic would be conducive to human flourishing. Not Mikasa stomping the scarf into the ground, and then what did I say? With my historic character analysis, when Historia became selfish, she became more selfless. Same thing with Mikasa, right? When Eren told her to throw the scarf and forget about her, what happened? She was all latched to Eren like a leech. But what happened after Eren wrapped the scarf around her for the last time? What happened after they acknowledged their love for each other, after they actually acknowledged the truth? What happened? Oh, she was able to move on. Interesting how it works. And it's exactly how it works in the real world. It's exactly how it works in real life. And that's exactly a message that you can apply to your personal life. You cannot apply anything from Moon Knight to your personal life because it's all stupid and garbage. What Moon Knight is telling you to do is saying, hey, create fake personas to deal with tragedy and then be married to those personas. Disgusting. Anyway, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video.